so I was flirting with the idea of reviewing the latest Venom installment, but doing so would have meant that the last 3 movies to come under my scrutiny derived from comic books. For some unknown reason, this factoid didn't sit right with me. Also, I grafted like a hooker's cunt to release the frankly brilliant 31st episode of the Barely Banter podcast on Sarwyn, which naturally has received less attention than the endless cries for help emitted by my liver. Sister Barnes and Sister Paxton are Mormon missionaries knocking on doors in the name of attempting conversion. The last household du jour belongs to Mr. Reed, a solitary gentleman who's extremely well versed in the topic of religion and immediately intends on using diverse methods to put the Mormons' faith under more strain than Angelina Valentine's epiglottis. As Heretic's trailer unravelled before my eyes, I, like many others too probably, theorised that the film reel would predominantly be occupied by a labyrinth of escape room-esque puzzles designed to test our protagonist's mind, body, spirit and monotheism. I was deeply incorrect. The bulk of its 111-minute runtime is essentially a seminar about the foundations of religion, which certainly differs from my original expectation, and that's okay because the script is well written and the acting is fantastic. Each line on said script is delivered efficiently. Whatever emotion needed to be displayed via facial expressions and body language is projected flawlessly. Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East bring their finest as Barnes and Paxton respectively, but MVP goes to Hugh Grant. He's clearly having fun during his portrayal of Mr. Reed. Every element of his game is on point here, resulting in his co-stars, despite their strong performances, having no chance whatsoever at owning even a pixel's worth of a scene. I still fucking despise the roles Grant was taking on during his formative years, but ever since he's been playing characters requiring depth beyond that of the hopeless romantic / pompous bellend types, he's really evolved as a talent. However, it saddens me to hear that he'll be returning to the Bridget Jones franchise in 2025, which compared to his latest work would be a level of regression comparable to any of my exes wishing to run it back. Almost all of the movie takes place at Mr. Reed's gaff, meaning the cinematographer didn't have the luxury of an epic backdrop they could just panoramic the fuck out of. Creativity was called upon and Chung Chung-hoon certainly answered with wonderful usage of mid-shots, close-ups and full utilization of the intimate setting, not to mention effectively capturing whatever tone the movie was going for. The soundtrack didn't really trigger any form of reaction from me, which to my ears means the score was complimentary enough towards the visuals without attempting to be a spotlight hog. Mercifully, Heretic for the most part isn't reliant on jump scares. The horror elements are almost exclusively psychological. This earns a thumbs up from me because if I wanted to involuntarily jolt for over an hour and a half in a dark room full of strangers, I'd just go on a hellacious coke binge. I have complaints. The aforementioned puzzles are somewhat present, but they're not numerous or intricate by any means. Seriously, Wasted Me has a much harder time navigating Uber Eats than the Mormons did at deciphering this noob-level shit. The pacing was frequently ponderous. I've got no idea if the editor was scissor-shy or creative weren't sensitive to the fact I was watching the late screening whilst hoping to catch up on some hardcore porn before bed. Asian, in case you were wondering. But regardless, it could have had 15 or so minutes removed without compromising anything. Also, the movie dedicates a tremendous amount of time fabricating a message about religion that, to its credit, had a satisfying climax, which annoyingly was completely undermined by the on-screen activity that took place literally seconds before the end credits rolled. With that said though, these last few negative sentences shouldn't deter you from giving Heretic a gander, as it's a thought-provoking premise that presents itself in a gratifying manner. There's no need for a sequel, but an origin story revolving around Mr. Reed would be more welcome than an infertile Japanese nymphomaniac with tits the size of water balloons on the verge of bursting and morals looser than a meth head's teeth.